Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet the great Dr. Paul Salfen. He is a celebrity interviewer. He's met some of the most famous people on the planet, and he wrote this best-selling book a couple years ago. It's called Going For It. We'll talk about his journey next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I'm beyond excited to introduce you to my next guest. Dr. Paul Salfen is in the studio. He is a media mogul. He's interviewed everybody who's anyone on the planet, and he's a best-selling author, and he's in my studio. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, the only thing I know about your world is because I'm married to Victoria Snee, who did movie junkets.
The queen of all those things.
Many years, and so she told me all these wonderful stories. How did you get into meeting Hollywood stars?
Oh, gosh. You know, I started doing this when I was in high school by accident. It was a misunderstood assignment. So our teacher in high school, we had a broadcasting class, which was much like this, like a bunch of cameras, and their students, and we were terrible. We would read these boards and we would go, today the weather is sunny, and we'd be trying to read the cues, and it was awful. And I hope no tapes of it exist. But what we would do is we would have the news, weather, sports, all that every day. And so for our entertainment, that was the only thing I was qualified to do. And the teacher said, well, you like music, go talk to some bands. So what did I do? I ended up knocking on tour bus doors, side doors, anywhere I could in Philadelphia, at some of the biggest clubs, and talked to some of the biggest bands. And I came back with the footage, and I was all excited because I'm thinking, no, this is like MTV, right? And the teacher smacks his head and he goes, I met bands in the school. I don't know how you did this, though. Good job.
But you met Van Halen or something.
Yeah, it was like Stone Temple Pilots, Megadeth, all the bands that I was listening to. So I thought it was cool. He did not think it was cool. However, it was more memorable now. And so then in college at Penn State, I went to the school newspaper all proud thinking, this is what I do, right? And I said, I want to interview bands for the school. And they said, absolutely not. This has nothing to do with our school. They're all proud of the football team and everything. So I ended up starting my own online music magazine with this record store that I managed, and all the bands that came in, and then everyone that didn't, I went after for interviews and ended up interviewing people from Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, and then a whole bunch of artists on their way up too.
Wow. Okay. How did you migrate from music to Hollywood?
So what I ended up doing is when I moved to Dallas, I met a guy who was he had an online review site. And so they're starting to accept online people to do interviews. And so he said, hey, go talk to these people. And so I went and started interviewing directors and actors. And then all of a sudden, the floodgates opened. But in 2012, I met the mighty Drew Pearson, number 88, one of our great Dallas Cowboys, caught the Hail Mary. Yes. And he had a show that was coming out on Fox Sports, and we met, and the producer introduced us, and he said, oh, it's Drew Pearson. He's got a show coming on Fox Sports. I said, hey, if you ever need an ugly white guy to come and do some celebrity interviews, I'm your guy. And he said, I'll see you on Thursday.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden I thought, okay. And then I didn't know what to do, but I went and I brought them the celebrity interviews, and it went over really well, and we kept going, and weeks later I said to Drew, "How did you know?" And he said, "Well, I didn't. I just figure it's like football. If I throw it and you catch, then you stay. If not, you go on the bench." But this is after years of having done celebrity interviews for Envy magazine, where I was editor-in-chief, and 944 was a managing editor. So I had some things, but on camera, as you know, is much different.
Yes. Okay, much more from Dr. Paul in a minute. Let's go ahead and show his sizzle reel. All right, Dr. Paul, it's not like you go back and watch that every night.
No.
Like you're looking at some of these people and you're like, oh, wow, yeah, that was a good interview.
I know. I didn't realize how long it was either. I got to make a shorter version for the short attention span crowd. But yeah, it's crazy. There's always so much to look forward to that it's hard to look back because I'm like, I'm so picky. I may never watch this because I'll be like, oh, Paul, sit up straighter. Like, don't use your profile. That's like, I'm my worst critic.
All right, kids, what have you learned from those hundreds, maybe thousands of interviews. Celebrities are just like us.
Sort of. But the reason it's called Going For It is because there is a common denominator between all of them, and that is because they tried harder than everybody else. Like when everybody was out drinking at the bar or partying or hanging out on, on weekends at other people's houses or doing stuff, they were working on their craft. They were trying harder. They were, doing unconventional things. They were, they're dressing up as waiters and going into party, anything that they had to do to get there. They slept in their cars. They sold everything that they had. They, borrowed things from friends. They slept on couches, and while we were all paying rent and being comfortable,
I love that. Okay, well, let's put the book cover up on the screen so people can see this. Going For It. I love that name. You have to tell us the story about the image.
Oh gosh,
of you
yeah.
jumping.
I'll give you the image, but it was my profile picture for a long time. So when I was the editor-in-chief for Envy magazine, every month we would do this this editor's letter, and so it would just be a picture of me, and I tried not to make it like a cheesy picture every time, just like hammy, So they said, well, this is our summer issue. What do you want to do? And I said, well, I should. They said, you should be by the pool, and I said, absolutely not. This is pre where you could AI some ab lines on you. So I thought, well, maybe in a suit though, and so because they always gave me a hard time for wearing a suit all the time, so I was just thinking I would just kind of lay by the pool in a suit. But no, I decided to jump in a running leap, and I told the photographer, get ready, here we go. And so what I did is I just did a running leap, and it was like, and there's so many frames of me, and then there's a awful frame of me with a sad face, just soaked, and what did I do? So,
and you were telling me a story that explaining it to your dry cleaner was.
Oh yeah, so I put that wetsuit in a dry cleaning bag, and then there's water coming out of it. And I went over to the dry cleaner. She goes, "You get drunk and fall in the pool?" And I said, "No." I was like, "I did that on purpose." And she's like, "Come back Tuesday."
All right. Well, I have a great deal of envy because of this next picture. This is your action figure.
Yeah, look at
So,
that.
like, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm much better looking as an action figure. And as a Funko Pop.
All right, so give us some words of wisdom, because I think so many Americans are struggling. They're struggling with their own identity. If you break down what the world tells us we want, it's fame and fortune.
Yeah.
And you've hung out around fame and fortune.
Yeah.
Some of these Hollywood stars are no happier than we are.
Oh no, I'm much less happier, and in a lot of cases, which is the most shocking thing to find out. Because you think, okay, well, at that point when I've made it, and then you talk to some of them, and you're like, I wouldn't trade places for you for anything.
Yes. And I also have told people that I think it's Hollywood is kind of the land of insecurity. So even Tom Cruise, one of the most bankable stars on the planet, you've interviewed him, and super nice guy, but he's never won the Best Actor award.
Yeah.
And so is there a little voice in the back of his head that says, how come my colleagues haven't recognized my brilliance?
Probably. I mean, I can't speak for him, but I would probably feel that way. I'd be like, what do you want? I gave you Top Gun. I gave you this. I gave you that,
Rain Man.
But what's funny is Matt Damon once told me that there's always that little part of you in the back of your head. It's thinking someone's going to tap you on the shoulder and go, you're not supposed to be here, right? And like I said, even now, and he said, oh yeah, it never goes away. It's this imposter syndrome that a whole bunch of people have talked about.
Yes.
But I think when they find joy in their lives outside of all this, when it's always going to matter to them what they do. But the great Sir Ben Kingsley told me, if your motives are pure, the angels will come. So which is one of my favorite lines, and Mark Wahlberg in there said that, finding joy in your heart and doing something that's meaningful to you, it means more than anything else in the world. And so I think with me, just haplessly doing a whole bunch of celebrity interviews doesn't really do anything for anybody else or me, And so what I decided to do is compile all this into a book and take all the best pieces so they don't have to sit there and watch me rattle on for 10, 15 minutes or 20 minutes each time, and just find the best little clips or the best quotes, and I put them all in one place so that people can find some motivation and realize that they're not alone in their struggle to do what they do.
Nice. Paul, we have about a minute left.
Oh.
Look into the camera on the left and give us a final thought.
A final thought. Well, I'm so happy that you're able to listen to this today, and I can't wait for you to check out the book. But I'm more excited about the next book, which we'll have to get into later. But it's basically a faith-based version of this, and it's tentatively titled "A Messenger of Messengers." And I hope you're all finding your good purpose and finding inspiration, and I hope you can find it in everyday life. And I look forward to being in front of everybody soon.
Outstanding. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your heart and your wisdom. We're going to end with his Instagram page so you can get in touch with him. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.